Hey guys, I'm back with another video and we have candle day 2 action. So of course I did go in. I don't even know why I tried to resist, but this is basically my day 2 collective haul. So what happened was I actually went yesterday in the afternoon. I had some errands to run, and of course near those errands there was a different Bath and Body Works, and I was like, let me check that store out. So that's what I did. And then that store was quite promising in their like timetable of how they were selling down their candles and what like phases were coming out. So I was like, I bet you any money that if I go tomorrow morning I'll probably find the day 2 stuff, because I could see how their selling was progressing. And so I did go to that store again in the morning and I did find what I wanted. So that was good. And then there was just one more candle that I wanted, and I was like, let me see if I can find this one more candle. And I just had a hunch that I was like, you know what, let me just go to this one more store in my location. I went there and there it was, so it all worked out. So this is basically my haul for that. So yes, oh my gosh, does this 2-day candle day thing make anybody else anxious? Because there's like something always like biting at you or itching at you, and you have like an itch and you have to like scratch it, and it's always like, but what about if, you know, day 2 candles are out at this store, and like you have to like time it right as to like when the candles are being sold out at what stores, and you gotta sort of like figure out like when they're gonna sell it. Like, do I go the night of day 1 or do I need to go the morning of day 2? And then it's like, if you go too late, then stuff's gonna sell out. But if you go too early, then the collections aren't out yet because they haven't sold out of the old stuff yet. Oh my God, it's just like, so like, I don't want to say nerve-wracking, but there's like definitely some like anxiety with it. And then you're just like, oh, I just need this one more candle. And then so you go driving around to all these other stores looking for that one candle. It's just madness, but you know the addiction is real. At the last store, it was like such a struggle. And you know the addiction is so real is when I went into the store and literally it took me like 5 minutes to like pick out my stuff. But then the next 40 minutes was literally me trying to talk myself out of buying all the candles. Because I'm like, I have candles to last me an entire lifetime. Like, I do not need any more candles. But there was like another mahogany vanilla, and there was a lone blush poinsettia. Even though it was really light, I found a lone one at my last store that I went to, and I was just like struggling forever. And it was like, literally like 40 minutes of trying to talk myself out of buying all the excess candles. I had like 4 candles at one point, but then I whittled it down to 1. So that's just, you know, just being like truthful with how I struggle with like buying stuff and going into the store. And it's just so overwhelming. There's so many people there. The music is like blaring loud, like in your ears, like you just have no headspace to even think or like control any kind of self-control or willpower or discipline. Oh my gosh, it was such a struggle. So yeah, it was definitely a struggle, but I'm like kind of glad it's over with, because I'm like, oh my God, I don't need any more candles. And I just don't, like, if it was a 3-day event, it's like, oh my God, well, they're gonna come out on day 3. But you know, Bath and Body Works, it's really smart for like staggering their releases, because then it gets you to go into the store multiple times. Then like literally every time you're in there, you're inclined to pick up more candles that you didn't need or didn't come in the first place, unless you have just excellent self-control and discipline. So I'm just glad the situation is over with, and here we are. So I think I picked up, was it 5 more candles, and then a few for family members who wanted some. Since I was the one making the runs, I texted them or called them and was like, what do you want? So we have our day 2 candles, and basically I found everything that I wanted on my list, so we're good to go there. So what do we start with? I guess we'll start with this, which was a very late release, and it's the Peppermint Marshmallow Give Hope right here. This was the very last store, and I couldn't find this anywhere else, and I was even calling around in the morning and nobody had it. And then people would confuse Give Hope with the Hope candle and tell you that it was in stock, but then it actually isn't. Just such a mess. But I finally found this. So even though like normally Peppermint Marshmallow I've had before, and it always duds out, and it's always like super light and unscented, that it's not even that good, but the fact that it's like the late release of this collection, you're just like, oh my God, I need to get it because I can't get it. So we have Peppermint Marshmallow, which is crushed peppermint, fluffy marshmallows, and powdered sugar. This has been a fragrance that's been out for many years, but it's just very notorious for being super light, and then the wicks are always the thick rope-like wicks, just like these right here, that just nub out like no one's business, and they fizzle out and just don't smell anything, and it's just never a good performer. And I think Peppermint Sugar Cookie is the far superior like peppermint bakery fragrance than this one is, because it always burns stronger and it usually burns like better longer than this one does. But this still smells good. Nonetheless, you still get that minty peppermint in here mixed with the like base of vanilla bean marshmallow or vanilla pumpkin marshmallow or just plain vanilla bean or buttercream icing. It's that creamy marshmallow vanilla but the thing is, vanilla bean marshmallow, vanilla pumpkin marshmallow, vanilla bean, they all dud out. Like if you've ever actually bought that candle and burned it for more than like, I don't know, once, if you like try to burn it down to like the mid-range point, it always inevitably duds out and it gets like black, grody, and murky, and then it smells unscented and just burnt and gross, and it's always nasty. And this has that same marshmallow blend in here, and I think that's why it always does that. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Usually when they put really dark wax in something, they have to like up the wick size to compensate for the dye that's in here. So maybe these thick real black wicks will be even thicker than other ones and then burn hotter and more viciously as a result. We'll see, but I don't have high hopes for it. It smells great though. It's like a deviant of the original Slack & Co. marshmallow peppermint, but it's also different from that in the sense that the Slack & Co. one had the frosted cupcake base from Slack & Co. days that kind of smell like a burnt sugar cookie rather than burnt marshmallows. So there was a difference there as well. But this one is indeed the like new, like current version of peppermint marshmallow rather than marshmallow peppermint. But once again, if you want like a similar fragrance to this but has a more bakery twist and just generally performs much better, then peppermint sugar cookie would be the one for you. So that's the Give Hope peppermint marshmallow right here. The next one we have is the one from the Kate's Cozy Luminaries. This was the one I went to yesterday later in the day, and I just like casually brought it up. I'm like, oh, have you seen Toasted Hazelnut Praline in your store yet? And she's like, oh yeah, I've smelled it. And then she's like, do you want to smell it? It's not out yet. I was like, oh sure, I'll smell it if you don't mind getting out of the back for me. And so she let me smell it, but then I like kind of ran off with it because she like got busy doing something else. But then she found me again later in the store and she was like, oh, so where's that candle? And I'm like wanting to get back from me. I'm like, oh, can I buy this? And it's like right here. She's like, oh, we'll probably be out tomorrow later. Do you want me to hold it for you then? I'm like, well, I'm kind of here right now. So like, if you can sell it to me, that'd be great. And I had to like twist her arm and she like went to go talk to the manager and they came back and they finally sold it to me. So I was happy that I was actually able to buy it, but it's just kind of annoying because it's like, yo, I know this is going to come out like eventually. So it is what it is. I'm just glad they sold it to me. So that was Toasted Hazelnut Praline right there. And this is Hazelnut, Toasted Marshmallow, and Vanilla Woods. I never saw a cinnamon stick from that collection or Ice Winter Balsam anywhere in my region. So I don't know if they didn't get them or they just sold out immediately. And Blush Poinsettia, I've literally only found one like at 2 stores and it was just one each. So I don't know if that's selling out really quickly or they just have really limited stock of it. So that was that. There was a crap loads of vanilla swirl brownie at multiple stores though. This smells great on cold. It's delicious. It's like they use the same like marshmallow fireside base that's in Blush Poinsettia. It's that same marshmallow fireside base in here that I love so much. And there's like a slight like smoky woodsy marshmallow fragrance to it, which it says vanilla woods and toasted marshmallow. So there is most certainly a like marshmallow fireside component in there, but there's almost like a crunchy caramel nutty component in here that really smells like a hazelnut praline. It's vaguely similar to the caramel peanut blend that's in pumpkin peanut brittle, which I still like that better because it burns stronger and it's just, I like pumpkin peanut brittle and it doesn't come back. It's kind of like they took hints of the caramel and peanut notes or the nut notes of pumpkin peanut brittle and then merged it with marshmallow fireside, and that's what Toasted Hazelnut Praline is. It's very, very delicious. It's like, I want to eat whatever this is. But unfortunately, I burned it once and it was just like so immensely light. Very similar to both the Ice Winter Balsam that was in that collection, as well as Blush Poinsettia. Like those were all very, very light to me. So maybe this collection is just very light in general. I don't really know. If this was like super strong, like pumpkin peanut brittle, I'd be all over it. But I was just getting really hardly any throw from this whatsoever in a small bedroom. So that was Toasted Hazelnut Praline there. Gorgeous fragrance, but yeah, the throw left a little bit to be desired. We then have, I went into the store today, which was the same store I went to later yesterday. And I was like, oh, so I've noticed, you were been selling out a lot of your candles. So I came in here again, seeing like, if you're probably bound to put out more candles. And she's like, yeah, we're about to probably gonna put out like our, next phases of candles here in like 30 minutes or so. And I'm just like, really? I'm like, I'm here right now. But in any case, I was like, do you have priorities 6 and 7? I think on the list of like the phases of candles that you can put out, like they're named like priority 1 through 7, and I knew I wanted priority 6 and 7, which were the 2 like SAS collections that were supposed to be if they really only sold out of everything else. Thankfully, that store was a lower volume store that doesn't get as many candles like in volume as other stores do, but they still get enough of traffic during candle day that they sell out of stuff really, really quickly. So I was able to go this morning to actually find the latest priority candles already in the morning. So I was happy about that. And And since she knew I was there, she was like, well, we're probably about to fill these walls anyways here real soon. Let me just pull out the cart and start filling them in. And that's what she did. So then, bam, there was all of the, you know, phase 6 and 7 candles there for the picking. So I was able to get the Wildberry Jam Donut from the Bright Side Color Run collection right here. And it has like the galvanized lid on here. There's a blue one that's iced coconut milk. And then there's still, I think there's at least 6 or 7 candles in this collection. So you can expect to see at least 5 more fragrances eventually. But clearly they didn't make it in time for Candle Day. So you might see those after Candle Day, or actually not until the SAS, which is the semi-annual sale, which is the day after Christmas on the 26th. So yeah, I'm kind of curious. I think I saw one with like a watermelon on it and a strawberry on it. So it's probably like strawberry pound cake and watermelon lemonade in there. And hopefully there's something else new in there, but we will see. We have sweet Wildberry Jam Powdered Donut and Brown Sugar Crumble, and this is $26.50, as you can see right here. It is the white wax core version, which is very similar to the original Wildberry Jam Donut that we got in that like hot pink jar. Actually saw that one at the same store in abundance too. So maybe they had those left over from whatever the last season was, but they had a ton of the original Wildberry Jam Donut, and then they also had this Wildberry donut as well. So everybody knows what this smells like at this point. It's that powdered donut smell that you get with the powdered sprinkled on top of that like sort of fried donut fragrance. And then inside you get the raspberry jam note in there. And there's that delicious brown sugar crumble, like bakery warmth that you get from like a blueberry pie or berry waffle cone is definitely mixed in here as well. And I really enjoy the fragrance, and that's why I keep trying to pick it up, but I just have varying performances with it. The first version got really like black and murky and super sooty at the beginning, and then black and murky towards the end, but it was strong consistently throughout the whole way. The online exclusive version with the pink or the red wax, on the other hand, was strong on the first one, but then deaded out and got unscented for the rest of it. So that was actually worse than the first version. This one looks like it's the first version's formulation, so I'm hoping this one will perform better. I really enjoy the fragrance, but it's just the performance on it is always so questionable. So we will have to see how this version does, and I'll try to report back on that there. And then lastly, the very last like priority or phase of candles supposed to come out is the Sanctuary Ceramics, which is the ones with Fresh Spring Morning, Sea Salt Balsam, Palo Santo. And then I think Tea Rose. There might be another one that I'm missing, but yes. I saw all of those, and the one that I wanted the most was, of course, Tea Rose. I still have one pretty much full one in my collection, so I just got one more right here. And then I got a second one for my mother because I knew she liked it as well. This is Sweet Pink Rose Petals, Fresh White Tea, and Dewy Greens. And once again, these are up to the $26.50 price point. Delicious. Friggin' love this. This one I was kind of like on the fence about when I first burned it, but then I actually really grew to like it because it was just so immensely strong and like pure and delicious that I did end up getting a second one, and I actually really kind of enjoyed it. But this it does smell like a tea rose, which is a variety of roses. Like the sort of like pretty looking tea, like rose that you see is usually like a tea rose or a hybrid tea rose, as I was saying before. But they like took a literal interpretation with this and actually like really amped up the tea component in here. And you get the white tea and ginger fragrance, which has a very much like tea plus like a sharp ginger, almost like a astringent ginger fragrance. It definitely exists. They took white tea and ginger with like a quintessential rose fragrance, and that's what tea rose is. It's really like a nice blend of both the tea and the rose, and it gives it like a nice like spa-like vibe to a very classic like perfumey classic rose fragrance. So it makes the classic perfumey rose fragrance a little bit more modern in the way that there's that like clean spa-like white tea and ginger blend that is chilling in here as well. And every time I burn it, it's so strong and just like fills the whole area, and it's like clean and refreshing, but it also has that beautiful perfumey rose in here. So I really enjoyed this one. So I was glad to be able to find one and get it for the $10.25 price. So that is Tea Rose right here. If you couldn't find this, then maybe they'll pull more of these for SAS, or maybe your store just held them until SAS. So expect to see them then if your store never put them out and they didn't sell out of them while you weren't there. So that was Tea Rose right there. Moving on, the store that I went to yesterday later in the day, they were selling down of all of their stuff, and they were putting the first phase of replenishment candles out, and that happens to be like the Boardwalk Coastal Getaway ones, and that is the berry waffle cone right here. This one also had like Coastal Sun in it, Summer Boardwalk, Watermelon Lemonade, And there might have been another one in there that is escaping me right now. It's sweet summer berries, golden waffle cone, and creamy vanilla. Delicious. Everybody knows berry waffle cone. It's like one of my top favorite bakery fragrances from Bath and Body Works. It has this buttery, golden, like crusty waffle, flaky crust note that's absolutely delicious with like this warm, like berry cobbler sort of infused with it. And it really smells like some kind of like just golden, buttery, crusty bakery thing. It's just like freshly coming out of the oven. It's so delicious. It always has varying performances on it. I burned this one once and it wasn't as strong as the one with the white wax that we had from just this past summer. So I'm hoping this one picks up a little bit, but still a beautiful, gorgeous fragrance nonetheless. So that was Berry Waffle Cone right there. And I don't think I've actually had it in this packaging. Let's see, and then the other stuff is just stuff that I picked up for family. My sister and my mother both wanted a tree farm, so I did get that right here. This is crisp pine needle, warm cedar, and spiced apple. I already talked about this, so I don't really need to go into it. My sister wanted a Winterberry Wreath right here, and that's what that is. This one is fresh pick orange, juicy blackberry, and warm vetiver. I think I talked about this in my Candle Day guide video, so I don't need to really go into that anymore either. And then lastly, we have blush poinsettia right here. My mom wanted one, so I got one for her, and that was this. And this is rose petals, green ivy, and sweet marshmallow. This one's so delicious on cold, but it's just like every time I go to burn it, it's just not quite strong enough that I'm like, oh my God, I need to hoard it. So yeah, but she still wanted to try one herself and she loved it on cold. So we're good to go there. But yeah, this one smells amazing. And it was funny, I think Christy in my comments was saying, she's like, maybe Blush Poinsettia was Smoked Vanilla Rose, like was the name before it became Blush Poinsettia. Because when you think about it, this is like Marshmallow Fireside mixed with a rose fragrance. So for it to be called Smoked Vanilla Rose, totally like is in line with a Marshmallow Fireside plus a rose fragrance. And I think she's totally right. It's like a light bulb moment. I'm like, oh, it probably is. And the information that I was given was that the Smoked Vanilla Rose wasn't actually a real candle, but just a mock-up of it. So maybe in the design and production phase, it was called Smoked Vanilla Rose at one point, but then for some reason that wasn't appealing and they wanted to make it a little bit more ambiguous, and then they changed it to Blush Poinsettia. So that totally all makes like total sense to me in my mind. So maybe we actually never missed out on Smoked Vanilla Rose, and that was the like production name for Blush Poinsettia before it became Blush Poinsettia. So now I kind of feel better about that because I'm like, yeah, when I think about it, how else different would Smoked Vanilla Rose be? So yeah, so that was Blush Poinsettia right there. And whew, I think that is it for my Candle Day haulage. Oh my gosh, I'm just like glad to be like done with it, which is kind of weird. Like it's fun, like there's still a rush of going to find stuff, but at the same time, there's always like something like scratching or itching at you where you're just like, oh my God, I need to go to another store and find like ABC. And like, it was like, I can't rest until I find Peppermint Marshmallow, you know, but I'm glad I found all of them and got them out of my system. So then we just have Body Care Day to look forward to, and then semi-annual sale, of course, will start after Christmas. And they usually release some fragrances or collections for semi-annual sale as well. And then we will go into spring after SAS is done in January, and then we'll go from there. So always plenty of candles to be had, but I'll try to hopefully take a little bit of a break here and just like burn what I've bought from Candle Day, because I know a lot of us probably have massive like towers and stacks at this point that are like impossible to get through. And I could not buy another candle for the rest of my life and be set and still never get through my entire collection. So it is what it is. That's how we are in the candle community. So let me know your day 2 thoughts below. If you found everything that you wanted, I know a lot of you guys did actually find all the collections on the first day. So super lucky to you that you didn't have to go back and like find them again for a second day and make all the rounds. But if you did or didn't find them, let me know how your day 2 was down below, and happy Candle Day, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.